On July 30th of 2025, this 28-year-old man, Andrew James McGann, was arrested in Arkansas, pictured here at a hair salon, mid-haircut.
He was one of their top 3 favorite teachers. Like, they just really liked him.
Please note that this content is for adults only. Viewer discretion advised. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe, like, and share. There was a 5-day manhunt for him because he's the suspect in a double homicide at the Devil's Den State Park. He apparently randomly attacked a couple who were hiking with their kids. Their 2 daughters were with them, aged 7 and 9. And he apparently stabbed the dad first, Clinton Brink, and then his wife, Cristen Brink. And it seems like for no reason. Some have speculated maybe he was trying to get to the daughters, and we'll go over why people speculate that. It's based on his past as a former elementary school teacher. He'd actually also recently moved to Arkansas to teach at a school. This is frightening to think what he did. And apparently he admitted to police that he killed the couple, and he didn't know them before. Oh my goodness. So there's a lot to go over here. Now, if you missed part 1 and 2, which were live streams, I have linked those in the description box for you. We watched press conferences together. You know, we went over all the manhunt details before he was caught, the composite sketches, all the images they released, the numbers you could call, and all of that. I've still got the tip line numbers and things in the description box in case you saw something and you know something, you haven't said something, or maybe you have footage that you found, you could still submit that to the police. It could really help their case, right? Now today, this guy was actually in court. So before we go over that, I've got a clip to show you from that, but I do want to show you the probable cause affidavit, especially for those of you who have been following this case with me. Don't worry, if you haven't been following, you could still understand the case very well if I read through this PCA, because it gives a comprehensive timeline as they do. And so we'll do that, and then we're going to just quickly recap as well his background, just in case people missed it in the live stream where we watched a press conference first and then afterwards we did a deep dive into his background. I feel like because the live stream was over an hour, some people might actually miss that. So let's first have a look at this probable cause affidavit. Again, thank you Grizzly Cat. Her coffee link is in the description box if you want to top up her coffees. My coffee link's also there, and the Mod Squad coffee link. So make sure you're choosing who you want to buy coffees for, right? So, all right. This is James Andrew McGann, date of birth, 8/23/1996, 28 years old. Quick YouTube disclaimer, I'm not sharing anything I'm not supposed to be sharing. This is all public record and now released by the Arkansas State Police. And so he's 6 foot and they say weight 200 pounds, blue eyes, brown hair, right? And he came from Tulsa, Oklahoma. So he was relatively new in the area as well. And he's been charged with 2 counts of murder. Now, here's what they say in the probable cause affidavit. On Saturday, July 26th of 2025, Washington County Dispatch received a 911 call from the Devil's Den State Park. The caller reported that they had located 2 bodies on the trail and a large amount of blood was present. 2 girls aged 7 and 9 were located by a hiker. The hiker got the girls off the trail and then hiked to find the girls' parents. The hiker located the deceased bodies of the parents on the trail. The hiker then had to hike out of the trail to get phone service. The Arkansas State Parks requested that the Arkansas State Police take the investigation. ASP, which stands for Arkansas State Police, investigators arrived at the park and began interviewing patrons, one of which noted an individual who emerged from the trail with what appeared to be blood on his face. The witness reported that the individual with blood on his face entered a black sedan and drove it away from the park on Highway 170. Later, a second witness stated that the black sedan was a Kia Stinger. Security footage from local businesses and residences in the general area provided by investigators with video of a vehicle later determined to be a 2022 Kia Stinger. ASP investigators investigated the crime scene and located a blood trail leading from the crime scene. The blood trail was believed to be the victim's blood. all evidence was collected and relevant evidence was submitted to the crime lab. If they say from the crime scene, I think, don't they mean the blood trail was believed to be the suspect's blood? Because I know they said that they believe that he was injured in the attack, and they took, a blood sample also from the attack from this blood trail, and when they arrested him, they took a buccal swab and they compared that, and it matched the DNA from the injury at the crime scene. Anyway, so it says on Monday, July 28th of 2025, an autopsy was performed on both of the victims by the Arkansas State Crime Lab. The medical examiner provided investigators with a preliminary finding that both of the victims died in a homicide by stabbing wounds. I just can't imagine this. It must just be so out of nowhere, so frightening. Like, you on a hike with your family and just suddenly you encounter this guy. They also told us during the manhunt that he had put tape over his license plate, so maybe because of how premeditated this all seems, also why they think that he may have committed other crimes before, right? Okay, and so it says, in the days following the homicides, police were able to identify the suspect vehicle as a black Kia Stinger. On July 30th of 2025, police continued their investigation and were able to locate the suspect vehicle at a barber shop in Springdale, Arkansas at approximately 4:58 p.m. Now he, the suspect, lived in that area in Springdale, Arkansas. So he was kind of going to his local barber shop, to get his hair cut. It's just so bold and dumb to be out there in the car that police are looking for. You know what I mean? You're just driving around. You're just going to go get your hair cut. There's no attempt to flee or anything. You're quite confident in what you are accused of doing. So much so you'll admit it to the police. It's just very strange. So investigators entered the barbershop, identified themselves, and made a general inquiry as to the ownership of the vehicle parked in the barbershop's lot. An individual who was receiving a haircut, later identified as the defendant, Andrew James McGann, indicated that he was the owner of the vehicle. Investigators noticed in speaking with McGann that there were several cuts on his hands. McGann was detained. McGann provided consent to investigators to enter his vehicle to obtain identification. When investigators entered the vehicle, a substance appearing to be blood was observed inside the vehicle. Because of the significant blood found leaving the crime scene and the wounds on McGann's hands, plus the blood located inside the vehicle, investigators seized and transported McGann's Kia Stinger to the Arkansas State Police Troop L headquarters. McGann was taken to the Arkansas State Police Troop L headquarters, where after being provided his Miranda warnings, he made statements indicating that he had committed the two homicides. Andrew James McGann committed the offenses of 2 counts of capital murder when he made a plan to attack and kill another. Andrew then waited with deliberated purpose and killed 2 hikers at the Devil's Den State Park. Like, why? That sounds very premeditated. So he will be formally arraigned on August 25th of 2025. Now, let me show you the clip of him in the courtroom today. It's not the most exciting, I will warn you, but we do want to see it, right? Because we haven't seen it yet. It's not long at all. So it's less than 3 minutes. Let's just watch this together. Okay, here we go. Let me put the sound on for you.
Your family or friends and a reasonable means will be provided for you to do that. I've been presented with an affidavit of indigency this morning from Mr. Parrish. I'm going to sign off on that and appoint the public defender's office to your case moving forward to represent you.
No, that's the case of them. I've talked to attorneys representing them for that I'll be doing some other 7 to 10 days to do that.
Yes, certainly, Mr. Parrish. I'll give you the next court date when we finish this. The bond is set at no bond right now with your next court appearance for August 25th of this year at 7:45 a.m. That's going to be your relative detention center. There's been a finding made that probable cause exists in a detainee that was made by a judge previously. Anything further, Mr. Parrish, or do you wish to be heard?
Another thing that I would indicate is, depending upon which division this case falls in, but it may be sooner than August 25th. We don't know. We're aware of that. is what I'm saying.
All right, very good. Anything else on the stick or?
Your Honor, we'd ask that you have the conditions if Walt Taylor is released and have no contact, direct or indirect, with the Brink's family.
I can add that today. There's nothing to add it to. There's no condition. Are you going to get the bond is set?
No.
Sure, he's not going to have contact though. If a bond is set, then a no contact provision can be part of that bond. But right now, there's no reason to do it. Anything from anyone else?
No, no.
All right, thank you.
That's kind of something.
Yes.
Thank you. Questions?
Yes.
And off he goes. On no bond. Okay, so the main points there were he's being held on no bond and his next court date will be August 25th of 2025. Now what we're going to do is just quickly recap this timeline, even though we just went over the PCA, but part of this presentation is the suspect's background or the defendant's background, which is truly shocking to think, oh my word, he was an elementary school teacher, but there's a lot of red flags as well with him bouncing around to different schools and accusations and all of that. So let's have a look at that. I just want to show you pictures of the victims. Shame, man. Clinton, Cristen, and their two daughters went for a hike at Devil's Den State Park. They just moved to the area, and Clinton was about to start a new job on Monday, July 28th of 2025. So he was killed just 2 days before starting a new job. He was apparently working for a dairy company, and I think he was going to be delivering milk. I'm not too sure what work Cristen did, but the family was so excited to be in this new area, you know. They just moved there. So they were on the Devil's Den Trail, a 1.5 mile loop near the park's visitor center in Devil's Den State Park when they were attacked, and they were attacked in an area where there was no cell phone signal. Their girls, aged 7 and 9, ran to the visitor center to ask for help. At around 2:30 p.m., a 911 call was made to Washington County EMS, reporting a possible assault at the park. The couple were found deceased on the lower Devil's Den Trail, and their daughters were unharmed. People do like to remind me, I must say physically unharmed, because while they were physically unharmed, I mean, of course, psychologically, the trauma, it's just unimaginable. Now, during the manhunt, they released this composite sketch of the suspect, and they said that he may have been injured in the attack. It was reported that the couple had been stabbed. And they also released later then a picture, that one that you can see on the right-hand side, of him from behind, which I wonder if that's from, you know, someone's footage, someone taking a video, a photo, whatever, or is it from, I don't know what, some sort of trail cams, or I'm not sure, but they did release that. And in the center, there's a picture of a North Face shirt, which one of the Grizzlies actually sent to me. And it does appear to be what he's wearing, because you could see the red outline, you could see the blue mountains. And if you look carefully, if you zoom into the picture that they released of him, then yeah, that does seem to be the shirt. And in the press conference that we watched together on July 31st of 2025, which is linked below for you, that was a very good press conference. They gave a lot of information, and I would highly recommend you check that one out. They did say that they found articles in his apartment when they executed a search warrant consistent with, you know, what we see in this picture. So probably the bag, the shirt, the ball cap, maybe the shoes, the pants, everything. I don't know. They also found knives. And at that press conference, they said that they wouldn't be surprised if he's committed other crimes, and they're looking into it. Wow. Okay. So I think it's also because of how premeditated this seems to be. Now, he's innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, but he's also someone who says, yeah, I killed them. Oh, my word. So they described the suspect as wearing a long sleeve shirt with sleeves rolled up, and all of this that we went over, and they initially said it could have been a Mazda and that he could have gone north or south. We now know from the map time we did in the last live stream that he probably went north because he lived north of the Devil's Den State Park. So on July 30th of 2025, he was arrested. Special agents with the Arkansas State Police have arrested Andrew James McGann, 28 of Springdale, in connection to a double homicide that occurred on Saturday, July 26th of 2025 at Devil's Den State Park. He was taken into custody at 4:57 p.m. on Wednesday, July 30th at a business in Springdale. And now we know which business, which was Lupita's Beauty Salon. And we also looked at an interview of the stylist in the previous live stream. He was charged with 2 counts of capital murder. So, yeah, there are pictures of him. I mean, he does, everyone's saying from the short that I made, a YouTube short that I made for you, the comments are like, his eyes and everything about him is just frightening. I think, of course, in hindsight, we don't generally judge a book by its cover, right? But my goodness, knowing that this guy could attack a family on a hike on a Saturday afternoon, yeah, in hindsight, he looks extremely frightening. So he was charged with 2 counts of capital murder, is being held at the Washington County Jail on no bond, and he could face the death penalty. So the state has indicated that he could, but they haven't yet said if they're actually going to seek the death penalty against him. I would imagine that they're going to. He's 6 foot tall, and they say it weighs 180 pounds. He actually weighs 200 pounds now, as we saw from the probable cause affidavit, right? And there, let me just go back so you could see these pictures as well, you know, comparing his pictures and the picture that they showed of him on the trail. That's allegedly him on the trail that day. So he was arrested at this barbershop, and the stylist said, so I'm cutting a guy's hair and I'm shaking because now there's cops and detectives. Told them I haven't swept up the hair in case they needed, and they 100 said that they did. Y'all, I'm shaking, mostly because it's starting to look like it could be the man they're looking for, but not too sure yet. And then after that, an hour later, she said, update. It was possibly him. Y'all, I could have possibly cut the Devil's Den killer's hair. He left effed up though. I barely started the fade. My goodness. So detectives entered the salon from both the front and rear entrances, identified McGann, and confirmed his identity by asking if the black sedan parked outside was his, to which he said, yeah, that's my car. Oh my, I should have said trigger warning. There's a picture of him that he posted apparently on Hinge, and he said, I hype myself up by ripping through my favorite playlist. So Andrew James McGann, initially reported as James Andrew McGann due to an error by the Arkansas State Police, was a school teacher who had recently moved to Arkansas from Oklahoma. He was hired as a teacher candidate for the upcoming school year at Springdale Public Schools, but had not yet started working with students or families. Previously, he worked as a 5th grade teacher at Spring Creek Elementary in the Broken Arrow Public Schools District in Oklahoma during the 2023-2024 school year, resigning to take a job out of state. He passed legally required background checks prior to his employment in Oklahoma. Okay, so now let's take a closer look. So here's a picture of him as a teacher. And Sierra Markham told the Associated Press that 3 years ago, her son was a student in McGann's 4th grade classroom in Flower Mound, Texas. She described him as the most standoff teacher she'd ever met. Her son's yearbook includes a photo of McGann. Pretty cold. You could ask him a question and he would give you a one-word response, she said. Overall, just pretty disinterested in his students. Now, if you go check out those live stream replays and you go to the comment section, you'll actually see there's quite a few people who had kids in his classes. He taught across multiple states, and they're like, oh my word, I remember that guy. And I was asking myself, like, how is this guy a teacher? I mean, how? Yes, how? Anyway, and why was he interested in being one is the question. And so he graduated from the Oklahoma State University, and his first job was teaching in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, in the schools from 2022 to 2023. He was a teacher in Texas, Oklahoma, and just hired in Northwest Arkansas. In 2023 to 2024, he was a teacher at Donald Elementary in Flower Mound, Texas, resigned in 2023. 2024 to 2025, he was a teacher in Sand Springs, Oklahoma schools. And in June of 2025, he was listed as a teacher at Bayari Elementary within the Springdale school system in Arkansas. So it's speculated that he actually went for a haircut, not really to change his appearance, but more so to get ready for the school year. Imagine if he had just started, which I think would have been the day after he was arrested. Like if they hadn't arrested him, he would have the next day started at a new school as a teacher, teaching kids. But meanwhile, knowing that he allegedly killed 2 people on a hiking trail, took away someone's kids, parents. I mean, it's just, that is really scary. So I'm really glad that they caught him so quickly. So then Brooke Taylor, a reporter, posted this on Facebook and said, I spoke to the mother of a former student of the suspected murderer accused of killing a couple in Arkansas while on a hiking trail with their 2 daughters. James, or his name is actually Andrew James McGann, worked in Texas for Louisville ISD as an elementary school teacher in 2023. A mother of one of his former 4th grade students said her son came home complaining that McGann was inappropriate with the girl students. So she filed a complaint with the superintendent. Oh my, is that why he wanted to be a school teacher? Is that why he attacked the parents of 2 young girls? I don't know. One could plausibly ask those questions, right? Now, as a result, parents received a letter from the district that he was placed on administrative leave while the school investigated complaints of poor classroom management and poor professional judgment. The investigation found no evidence of inappropriate behavior with the student, but they did find classroom management and professional judgment to be below the district's expectations, according to the letter. Shortly after, McGann resigned. He then worked as an elementary school teacher in Oklahoma until he resigned in May to move to Arkansas, where he was set to become a teacher in Springdale for the upcoming school year, according to the district. When he was teaching at the Donald Elementary School in Flower Mound, Texas, and resigned in 2023, here's what Donald Elementary said to the parents. To the families of students in Mr. McGann's classes, I need to make you aware of a situation impacting your student's class. Mr. McGann was placed on administrative leave last week while we investigated complaints of poor classroom management and poor professional judgment. I want to be very clear that while our investigation did not find any evidence of inappropriate behavior with a student, we did find his classroom management and professional judgment to be below our district's expectations. I also want to share with you that the families of the students directly involved did receive communication from our administrative team as part of our investigation. Mr. McGann, on Wednesday afternoon, notified our Human Resources Department of his decision to resign his position effective immediately. We will have a substitute teacher in his class for the rest of the school year. Please let me know if you have any questions or concerns. I appreciate your support of our campus. Heather Shorter, Principal. The comment I'll make is that even though they couldn't find any evidence of him being inappropriate with a student, that could be because the students were too scared to actually speak about it. Maybe he put fear into them, which I would imagine would be the case, or maybe it's just very difficult to prove something like that. But he's just like, okay, I'll just resign. It's not like he fought that either.
Were you surprised when you found out?
Very surprised.
A stunned Sand Springs family asking to remain anonymous, sharing their emotions after seeing the mugshot of a teacher they loved.
And they're like, Mr. McGann at my school, he was our teacher last year.
I was shocked. And I didn't think it was him, but then I saw the picture and really looked at it, and I was like, that's him.
The first time he came to our school, my friend, for some reason, she had a bad feeling about him, and so I was like, he's nice. If he wasn't associated with someone, he would just like sit back and just stare.
Now, he posted on social media, my favorite thing to do in my free time is exercise, specifically running. I played football, baseball, and rugby in high school, so I love sports. I've heard there are some runners in the Dolphin family, so show me where the good trails are. Wow, show me where the good trails are at, since I'm in need of a go-to running trail. Oh my, well, he was on a trail when he allegedly murdered 2 people. So yeah, he did not need to know where the good trails are, right? He also said, hello, my name is Andrew McGann. I'm very excited to join the Dolphin family as a 4th grade math and writing teacher. I'd love to see his journals. What else did they get at his apartment? Let's see the search warrant, right? I graduated from Oklahoma State University, go Pokes, in May with a BS in elementary education. I've been a substitute for the past 2 years in Tulsa County, Oklahoma, and a student teacher for the spring of 2022 semester in Broken Arrow Public Schools in a 4th grade math and science classroom. This is a year of firsts for me. First year teaching, first year in LISD, and first year living in Texas. And bruh, what was 2025? What, like first year to murder people or what? Or not? Did you do this before? I think it's gonna get interesting, right? Okay, so the Arkansas State Police, with the assistance from the FBI and local law enforcement, relied heavily on public tips, including video and photo footage from the park, visitors, and local residents' security cameras. The composite sketch and the photo of a person of interest showing a man from behind were released on July 29th, aiding in his identification, and they said the tips came as far as Washington State. And Major Stacy Rhodes, ASP Criminal Investigation Division Commander, noted that public assistance was instrumental in McGann's capture. Now, if you remember from day one, officials said that they stressed that any images or videos should be sent directly to police and not posted on social media to avoid interfering with the investigation. Unfortunately, somebody decided to interview people, including a dispatcher who was then fired because she shared way too much, and that video is still out there, amazingly. And then also shared footage of, the suspect's vehicle fleeing the park. allegedly the suspect's vehicle. So yeah, that is why, if you go and watch the press conferences, actually both of them, ooh, they had some very snarky remarks about social media, and that it hindered the investigation and it's not helpful, and they were very upset about it. And as we know, it can be very helpful if it's done the right way. It can help to get information out for locals to become aware of a case if they weren't yet, if they're just checking out something on YouTube or Facebook or X or wherever, and they're like, oh my word, I was actually there this weekend. It actually happened in this community, where on the first day that I covered this manhunt, 2 people were in the chat saying, wait, what? We were camping there over the weekend. We didn't know about this. You know what I mean? So they were like in the area. So it can be helpful, but it's got to be done right. And we got to listen to what the police want us to do, because at the end of the day, we are there to help them and not to try to be the detectives. You know what I mean? So that is what we have from that. And man, justice for Cristen and Clinton Brink. This is just so, it's one of those senseless murders. So unnecessary. Like, what on earth? Shame, man. I feel terrible for their kids, for their family, for their friends, and I hope that there will be full justice for them. And that if this guy has ever murdered anyone else before or harmed anyone, even if he wasn't appropriate with anyone, that people would now feel that they could come forward if they know something, if they haven't yet said something. So just remember that as well. You can, if you know something from the past about him, if you've encountered him, you can call the police with that information, because it would help the state build their case, right? Those are actually all the updates that I have for you today. Just a quick, short one, just to let you know what's happening, that yes, he was in court today. Yes, we've got the probable cause affidavit now. And yes, we'll keep an eye on it, because he will next be in court to be formally arraigned, where we can only imagine he'll plead not guilty, which is interesting, based on him admitting that he murdered them, right? The couple. But he might still just plead not guilty, as they said at the press conference why that would be. All right, so I will keep you posted. Thank you so much for following this case and all the other cases with me. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you again very soon. What can we learn from this case is that it would be wise to carry some form of protection, maybe pepper spray, just to buy yourself some more time, something like that. You know, we try our very best to learn from all these cases of how can we stay safe, how can we help others to stay safe, because this is just something that you wouldn't imagine happening. And I'm not saying that it would have changed the outcome. You just sometimes think of ways like, oh my word, because it's so frightening to think of this, like how could I stay safe in a situation like that? Well, I would recommend something like pepper spray, just to buy yourself some time, right? Okay, everyone, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again very soon. In the meantime, stay safe.